Hey folks, got the combi cave cleaned out and it's time to move on to the welding cart project. Got this dog here to help. What welding cart project, you ask? Well, this one. I got this from my friend Randy. It's huge and it's built like a tank, but I got big plans for it. I think I'll put my MIG welder over here on the right. I'll place my plasma cutter here in the middle. And I'll reserve this left area for a future TIG welder. The top and bottom areas can be used for storage drawers, and I'll put a toolbox over on the far left. Then I've got an enormous piece of steel that I'll place on top as a welding surface. All right, the cutoff point here is at 38 inches all the way across. I got this huge 5.5 by 3.5 foot piece of steel off Craigslist from a warehouse downtown. No idea what it was used for before, but I'll cut it down to size and use it as a welding surface. It's been a stressful morning already. I will say halfway through the first cup of coffee, there was stressful news. So this is actually incredibly therapeutic right now. Something about the simplicity, and I don't want to necessarily say that mechanical work is simple, because it sure as heck isn't. There have been plenty of times where I couldn't figure things out, and there are plenty of aspects of sort of mechanical restoration work that's really complicated. I leave in the hands of the real gurus, like my buddy Scott Moore, who builds engines, and the real pros that do body work, unlike hacks like me. But I guess simple in that you can sort of like just focus on what you're doing, right? You can sort of get lost in the mechanics of the task at hand, not have to worry about all that other stuff, work or life, you know, family stuff that might be stressing you out. Trying to go through here and get like a basic groove cut first. That'll guide me when I go deeper. We'll put that big hunk of steel there over in our scrap pile. There's one more long cut here that gets made. I think we're in business. Look at that. That's a big chunk of metal. I'm going to put that in the scrap pile for later. Well, it's flu season. Ask me how I know. I think I'm through cutting things off of the cart and I'm ready to start putting things back on. So I'm going to weld on these bars that go across here, like so. Then I'll be able to weld on this massive piece of steel as a welding surface. Then I've got these pieces of expanded metal I'm going to put on here as a base for the MIG and the plasma cutter. What I've read about welding thin expanded metal to thicker steel here is that you should start on the thicker edge and sort of push the molten weld onto the thinner area. All right. It's going to go here. So that's the state of things right there. And it fits just perfect. I cut it right. In terms of width, it's always been too long. I think we're just gonna cut it flush. Call it a day right there. What do you think? Gonna do some cutting now. About time for some welding. All right, I think phase one is done. I got this big metal slab cut down to size, welded in place. Got the bases in. I think it's usable right now. And it's not too heavy. Hey, it's been a few days and I'm almost over the flu. I also bought a vise. Well, I've got to drill some holes right here because I think this is where I want to put my vise. Let's see how easy it is to drill through this thick piece of metal. Not so bad. All right. Let's fasten this down, shall we? Look at that. I like it a lot. One of the things I really need to do is weld on a couple pieces of scrap metal here to hold the base of the tank in place. So I got these scraps here from cutting down the cart to size. I think I'm going to weld them in place. Let's check it out. All right, that base is on there. It's on there good. I like it, but I need something to hold the tank in place up here. Well, I've tried to get a little inventive here on the upper bracket for this welding tank. I'm gonna go ahead and weld it in place. Then I'll show you how it works, if it works. So there's a lot of work left on this project, but this part's done. I'm pretty happy with it. I just made this bracket from scraps that were left over from the cart itself. Welded it together. Bam. If I have to get to the tank, I can do that, pull it out, put a new one in, stick this back in place, and we're back in business. One of the things that I still have to do is put some brackets on the cart in various places to wind up the welding gun cable to the power cable, various other things. I cut up a piece of scrap and I made a bracket here that I'm going to use to wind up the power cable. I think that I'll go ahead and tack this into place, and then I'll fit the other one, and if I like the way that the cord is winding up there, if I like the spacing, then I'll weld it in for reals. Let's see about the spacing here, what I think about this. It's just about right there. I think I could live with that. Let's go ahead and weld it in for reals. Okay, I cleaned up these welds a little bit for those that care about such things. Let's give this a try and see how it works. Well, that's just about right. Really couldn't ask for more than that out of a bracket. As brackets go, thumbs up. Well, I did some work off camera. Let's walk up to the cart and check it out. Here it is in all its glory. I put a coat of stain on the wooden drawers. I welded in that last piece of expanded metal. I welded in some brackets here for all the cables. And that's right, I put my bench grinder here in the corner. That way I don't have to run an extension cord all the way out to the shed. Got space here for all of my vise grips. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pleased with myself. Pretty happy with this cart. It's gonna get a heck of a lot of use.